For question 4b, it says the roots of the quadratic equation 3x squared minus x minus 1 being equal to 0 are alpha and beta. Find the value of I. 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta. I. Alpha squared plus beta squared plus 2 over 9. So today we'll try going through the solution for this particular question. Before you find the value of the expressions in I and II, you need to get a value of alpha plus beta and alpha beta. But before we do that, let's go through this basic introduction about the alpha and beta. If the question is saying that the roots of the quadratic equation are alpha and beta, my question is, how do we find equation of a quadratic equation when given the roots? When the roots are given, then the equation is being formed using the formula x squared minus sum of the roots multiplying x plus product of the roots, and that is equal to 0. Now in this case, the question says that the roots are alpha and beta. So it means that if you want to form the equation, the equation is going to be x squared minus the sum of which is alpha plus beta x plus the product and the product is alpha beta, and that is equal to 0. And this is how the equation is supposed to be. But the question is saying that the equation is what has been given here, and that is the 3x squared minus x minus 1 being equal to 0. If that is the case, then the x squared minus alpha plus beta x plus alpha beta being equal to 0 is the same as the 3x squared minus x minus 1 being equal to 0. In that case, we need to compare these two equations so we can get the value for the alpha plus beta, that is the sum of the roots, and the product of the root, that is the alpha plus beta. But before we can even do that comparing, we need to make sure that the coefficient of the x squared, they are the same. For the equation 1, realize that the coefficient of x squared is positive 1. If you look at that of the equation 2, the coefficient of x squared is positive 3. So let's manipulate the equation 2 to make sure that the coefficient of x squared is positive 1. In this case, what we are going to do is we will try dividing each term of the equation 2 by the coefficient of the x squared. So we are going to divide this by 3, divide this by 3, we divide this by 3, and then we divide this by 3. So we are going to have x squared minus 1 over 3 x minus 1 over 3 is equal to 0. Okay. So in that case, this equation that we are having, we can compare this to the x squared minus the alpha plus beta x plus alpha beta being equal to 0. This is our equation 1. Okay, so let's label this as, let's say, equation 3. So comparing equation 3 and equation 1. We realize that the coefficient of x squared here is 1. The coefficient of x squared here is also 1. So let's do the comparing for the coefficient of x. In equation 1, the coefficient of x, that is a minus alpha plus beta, supposed to be equal to the coefficient of x in equation 3, and that is minus 1 over 3. In this case, we can conclude that alpha plus beta is equal to 1 over 3, because this negative can divide through by negative, and this negative will cancel this negative. So we are going to have the alpha plus beta being equal to 1 over 3. We do the same thing for the product, that is the alpha plus beta, that is a constant, whatever that is left, supposed to be equal to the constant that is left also in equation 3. So in that case, we are going to have the alpha beta also being equal to negative 1 over 3. Alright, so now we have the value for alpha beta and alpha plus beta. So now we can move on. Then we consider the expression that the question wants us to find the value of. Don't forget this alpha plus beta, we have its formula there that we could have used straightforward to get a value for alpha beta and then alpha plus beta. But I wanted us to go through how to derive that. That is why. But if you know the approach, that is the formula, you can use that. But I wanted you to understand, that is why. So we can start simplifying and finding the value. For the first one, the question wants us to evaluate or find a value of 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta. Now for you to find a value for this, what we are going to do is take this as normal two fractions. So how do you simplify normal two fractions? The denominators are different, so you find the LCM, and your LCM is going to be alpha beta. So your LCM being alpha beta, this alpha goes into alpha beta, beta times 1, that's the numerator, is going to give us beta, plus this beta, that is the denominator, goes into the alpha beta alpha. The alpha is going to multiply the numerator here, and that will give us alpha. So we can rewrite this as alpha plus beta for this numerator over alpha beta. Now you realize that the fraction that we are having here, the numerator is alpha plus beta, the denominator is alpha beta. So what we can do is we can substitute the value that represent alpha plus beta and alpha beta into this fraction. We had alpha plus beta to be equal to 1 over 3. So 1 over 3 over alpha beta, and alpha beta 2 we had negative 1 over 3. Now when you simplify this, this is going to give you negative 1. So that is the I. 1 over alpha plus 1 over beta is going to give us 1 over 3 over minus 1 over 3, and this will give us negative 1. We move on to the II. For II, we have alpha squared plus beta squared plus 2 over 9. Now, when you consider the alpha squared plus beta squared, we have its expanded form, and its expanded form is alpha plus beta all squared minus 2 alpha beta. This is the expanded form of alpha squared plus beta squared. So we bring the constant there, that is the plus 2 over 9. So we have our plus 2 over 9. Now what is the next thing? Where we have alpha plus beta and alpha beta, let's substitute their respective values there. So here we are going to have 1 over 3 squared, because alpha plus beta is 1 over 3. Okay. Minus 2 multiplying alpha beta, and alpha beta is negative 1 over 3. We have plus 2 over 9. Okay. So once again, when you simplify this, this is going to give us 1 over 9 plus 2 over 3 plus 2 over 9. So simplifying this, we are going to get 3 over 9 plus 2 over 3, which this is going to give us 1, because 3 over 9 is going to give us 1 over 3, and 1 over 3 plus 2 over 3 is going to give us 3 over 3, which is 1. So that is question 4B, and that is the end of this particular question. That is, the root of the quadratic equation 3x squared minus x minus 1 is equal to 0 are alpha and beta. Find the value of the I and an II. So these are the values. When you, all that you need to do is find a value for alpha plus beta and alpha beta, and then you try simplifying these as normal fractions, and then you substitute. And that is what we did. Okay. So we'll end today's lesson here. God willing, our next meeting, we'll try considering question 5. Have a nice day.